And now I'd love to introduce our first presenter of the day, Jacki Montierth. For many of us, purchasing a new smartphone, tablet, or computer is a big decision. To shed some light on this very topic, let's welcome Jacki Montierth.
Good morning. I am so happy to be back with you this year. When I created wiseboomer.com 10 years ago, I never really believed that it would get to the point it is today. But as you saw from the video from Martin Cooper, it is important for our generation, the wise boomer generation and the greatest generation, the baby boomers and the greatest generation, to move forward with technology. And from the onset of wiseboomer.com, I believed that I needed to make sure that people accepted technology and were able to conquer and navigate through the world of technology without struggling and being frustrated. So that's been my goal with wiseboomer.com. So please visit wiseboomer.com for some information about it. So I want to talk today a little bit about that and a little bit off of what Martin Cooper said, that technology for our generations is so important. It is rapidly changing the world exponentially. Nothing's going to stop that, and it will impact your life. Those of you who are watching probably have accepted that fact, and you're trying desperately to make it work for you. Well, over the next 10 years, we're going to see even more change, obviously. You might find that you have a smart home, and many of you have one now that's developing into a smart home. A smart home is a place where you receive video calls, not just phone calls on a landline, but video calls on a screen in your home or multiple screens in your home. There are sensors around your house. The sensors take care of you. They tell people when you fall. They notify your emergency contacts when you fall. They monitor the locks on your house, the windows, the temperature in there. So sensors in the future will be everywhere in our world. The struggle is to believe that they're there to help us and not be a privacy challenge. You will have voice-activated devices everywhere in your world. You may have some of them now. You may be able to use your phone, especially if you've taken my iPhone classes. We're learning to do that. But voice activation will be everywhere that you go. In your home, you will tell it to your house to turn on the lights, change the temperature, do this or that. And you may have a robot that helps you, and that little robot scoots all around your room. You may have that robot vacuum now that cleans your house. Well, what if it was a real robot that could empty the dishwasher or do other things or monitor your health? These things are going to happen in the next 10 years. You've already heard about driverless cars. So we need to be prepared. Our generation is quite capable of handling everything, as Martin Cooper pointed out. We've done so many things in our life. We need to not fear technology. We need to move forward with it. So today, hopefully, now don't turn this off yet if you're getting a little nervous, I'm going to give you some tips how you can start streamlining and organizing your world around, your digital world around technology, so that you are prepared for the future and everything that comes your way. So first of all, let's talk about how frustrating technology can really be. And I've seen this every day, everywhere, and I'm sure you have too. It is incredibly frustrating, but it was a lot more frustrating 5 years ago when it couldn't do the things and it doesn't have the user friendliness that it does now. So things that we have now are much easier to use, but are we capable of using them to the maximum? So let's think about that. One of the problems is that there are way too many options. When we want to purchase some technology or we want to upgrade some of our old things that we have around the house, there are just too many options. It's called technology chaos, absolute technology chaos. So what about the current devices that you have in your home that you've already purchased? What do you have? You may have a landline. You may have a smartphone. A smartphone, you may or may not have a smartphone. It may be an older one. It may be a newer one. It may be one that you're not even using to anything other than answering phone calls, which we need to fix. You may have a computer, a newer one that somebody gave you or that you purchased and you don't even use it that much because it's just too much to think about. Or you may have an old PC that's been around your house for years, or an old Mac that just isn't functioning much. You might have an iPad. You might have a different type of tablet. There are several different types. You might have an Alexa device. You know, you hear the Alexa do this, Alexa what time is it, that kind of things. And then of course most TVs now, if you have a flat TV, chances are you have apps on that TV. It's a smart TV and you can use the remote on the TV to run those apps. What about the brands that you have in your house? Are there so many brands that it's just overwhelming? You might have an Apple computer, a Samsung tablet, an Amazon Alexa device. You might have a Sharp TV or a Dell computer or an HP printer, and all these devices, well, all those companies wanted you to buy devices and really didn't care that much about integrating with other devices. So what about the commands that you're going to use, that you use now and you use in the future? If you have an Apple iPhone, you say, "Hey Siri." If you have an Android phone, you say, "Hey Google." If you have an Amazon Alexa device, you say, "Alexa." You don't say the word "hey," you have to just say, "Alexa." I guess she would listen to "hey," but anyways. So there's just too many. And you might have other devices, and there are companies all the time coming out with devices that have voice commands. Too much for us to remember. Why should we have to work this hard to make these devices work? How about all the remotes in your home? You know that drawer of remotes that you have? You've got one for Cox, and oh, now they have voice on it, so you can talk to the Cox remote. You've got DirecTV and AT&T. You might have an Apple TV and a remote for that, or an Amazon Fire Stick and a remote for that, a Roku device and a remote for that. How many remotes, including old ones, do you have in your house, and how are we supposed to remember which remote goes with which device without wasting a lot of time? Way too complicated. That's technology chaos. So how old are those devices? So let's talk about your computer. How old is your computer? Is it more than 5 years? Is it 10 years? Can your devices in your home support the new technologies? Can they use the new programs, the new apps? Do they even have a disk drive for disks anymore? How many CDs are laying around your house? And is there even a device to run them anymore? The older the device, the question you have to ask is it secure to use that device? Because if it's older, it hasn't had updates. That means it hasn't had security updates to fill all the holes that the hackers can get into. And do those devices always work? Do you have a myriad of devices that are sitting around the house not even working, that are just taking up space? So the question is, what do we buy as we move forward and upgrade our technology in our home to get it ready for what's coming? What should we buy, and how do we choose which brand, which device, whatever to buy? Well, this doesn't help, because everywhere you go, you're seeing all these devices. Everybody's got a device they want you to buy. All different brands, every kind of device. You have no idea what they do. It takes way too much time to figure them out. And if you get it, is it going to have totally different commands, totally different applications than all the other devices in your home? That's technology chaos. We want to fix that. So that's my goal today, is to help you move toward fixing the problem. First step, we've got to get rid of devices. As you upgrade, you want to look at the age of your devices. The reality is anything over 5 years old is based on technology that is nowhere near the quality of the technology that exists today. Nowhere near. They have improved everything in technology in 5 years. Huge difference. Just think back to what a cell phone did 5 years ago compared to now. And beyond that, it is so frustrating to make these devices even work correctly. It's just not worth your time and effort. We've got better things to do. We need technology that will work for us. So let's end the chaos, and let's find a way to streamline your technology at your house and build your home so that it moves toward a smart home of the future. So let's begin with what Martin Cooper believes, and I believe, that the future is going to depend on a phone. on your smartphone. Everything from here on out is going to be based on your phone. And he mentioned it, but around the world, if you think right now, every day, people have a phone in their hand so many hours of the day. It has become almost like an appendage. It is an important device, so if you have been fighting getting a smartphone, don't fight any longer. The reality is you need one, and you need a good one. So smartphones today, if you do have one, chances are you have either an Apple iPhone, which is on the left, and the iPhone is the most sold phone around the world right now. Right below it is the Samsung Android phone. Now let's talk about Apple and Android for a minute. Apple is the company that keeps everything inside. In other words, they have the software and the hardware. You own an Apple device, you're using their software. An Android phone can be any brand. There's many million, like 1,300 brands of Android phones around the world. The most sold is the Samsung Galaxy, but the Android system, the system is created from Google. So now we get to what the original part of this talk was about, Apple versus Google. Google runs Android. It's a system, not the hardware. That's why you can buy different brands of phones with an Android system. But the system is different on each type of phone. So that's why Android Samsung is probably the most popular. It's a quality phone just like the iPhone. Quality phone is what we're striving for. And then you might have another phone, another smartphone. You might have gotten it from Consumer Cellular or one of those. And that's okay. If it works for you, it's okay. But it's making your life more difficult than it needs to be. So as you move forward and you start upgrading, let's think about moving toward one of these phones. The iPhone, there is a new one coming out every year, but you don't need to fear that. It's still a quality phone that runs, and so does the Android Samsung. So we're shooting toward an Android phone, a Galaxy, and an iPhone, if you had to choose one now. Now, I'm not saying you have to buy one of these phones. I'm just giving you a system here that will make your life a lot easier if you think about doing that. So your phone is becoming your mobile device that will do everything for you. It is your chaos controller. It is your remote control for your smart home with your phone. You will control the temperature of your phone, the locks on your door, the cameras outside. You'll be able to do everything around your house with your phone. You don't need all those remotes. You use your phone. If you were to go and buy one of those beds that moves up and down now, it goes with your phone. Your phone can make it go up and down. Just about any technology out there has an app on a phone. So that's why you need to get a good phone, because it's going to be very important. You can also communicate with your healthcare professional. If you haven't already done a telehealth video with your doctor, that will happen. Your phone will also monitor your health and your health care. The health organizations are using apps. They want you to check in with your phone and things like that. It can also monitor your temperature and your health itself. You'll do your banking in the future on your phone. You don't need to go to the bank anymore. You'll do your shopping on your phone. So the phone, as you can, this is only a small piece of what you're going to do with your phone in the future. But look at what the phone has already replaced. And this is only a small section of the devices that it's replaced. We don't use an address book anymore. It's all in our contact center phone. We have our calendar. We use it as a camera, a flashlight. All these devices, a scanner, a VCR player. We watch movies on our phone. We don't need a VCR player anymore. And we get our music. We don't need an iPod. We can listen to music on it. Everything you need to do pretty much is on your phone. GPS is probably the most used. So, after you get a phone, after you choose a phone and you upgrade to a good phone, it's going to last you a very long time because the technology is so incredible right now in these phones. You don't need to buy one every year. It's going to last you at least 5 years, if not longer. You probably will want a new one before then, but it is a device that you spend your money on in the future. It is the device of the future, just as Martin Cooper mentioned. And around the world, that's proving to be true. In these countries which don't have much of anything, you will see them with a phone. You travel on the Amazon River. All of the people living on the Amazon River have cell phones because it is the important part of their life. So next up, after we have our phone, we may or may not want a computer, a new computer in your home. You don't need to have a computer. Your phone can do just about everything that a computer can do, but many people rely on a computer for a bigger screen and more easily inputting things, or maybe you do some writing, things like that. It's much easier on a computer. So how do we choose a computer? Do we keep what we have? What are our choices? Well, you should always think about your phone. What will work well with my phone? What computer can I get that will see my phone, back up my phone, read information in my phone? What are my choices? So if you have an Apple, then you want to stay in the Apple world. If you have an Android, you probably want to stay in the Google world. But there are options. You may have your own option, and that's fine. I am not saying anything about if you're good at something and it's working for you and you're comfortable with it and you don't want to move, that's fine. This is a suggestion for those people who are moving forward and purchasing updated things. Most importantly, if ever this was true, what you see on the screen, it is true with technology. You get what you pay for. The lower the price, the slower the performance, and the poorer the screen quality. That applies to phones and computers and most devices. If you buy a very cheap computer, you are not getting the equivalent of a more expensive computer. It will be frustrating to you. So never buy the lowest priced computer out there. Always think about that. Buy quality, and especially when it comes to your phone, buy quality. Remember, it's all about simplicity and compatibility. Simplicity to the extent that we can learn to use it easily. It's simple to use, it carries over from what we've been doing, and is completely compatible to our phone. Do not get a device that is not compatible to your phone. That is always going to cause you frustration. Okay, so let's look at some possibilities here. So if you're an iPhone user, if you have an Apple iPhone, the easiest approach for you as you upgrade is to move to buy a Mac computer, an Apple computer, an iMac or a MacBook. Now, why would you do that? If you're a PC user, you've used a PC your whole life at business, why would you bother to buy a Mac? Well, at our point of life, using a computer is not as widespread and intricate as it was when we were working. Most computers will work for us. Now, if you think I can't work a Mac, I don't know how to work a Mac, if you look at the icons, the little pictures on the iPhone on the left, those same icons will be on the bottom of the computer on the right. They have the same icons, and any iPhone immediately can talk, right out of the box, can talk to a Mac computer. They talk, they back up, they can see each other. You can actually work on something on your phone, and then it moves right over to your computer. So the easiest method to move forward is with all Apple products if you have an iPhone. A little bit harder is to have an iPhone and use what's called a Chromebook. Now, a Chromebook, you may have seen that on TV recently. There's a lot of that on TV. You also hear it about kids. Most kids have a Chromebook at school now. Why did they choose a Chromebook, and what in the heck is it? A Chromebook is not a specific computer. It is a computer that runs the Chrome system, which is Google's equivalent, Google's Android system. It's Google Chrome. You may use Google Chrome as your internet browser on your computer at home, or you in the past you may have. But all Chromebooks run Google Chrome. That's how they run. It's simple, it works, it's not expensive. See, Apple computers are a little high priced. They're quality, high quality. You can move down to a Chromebook. You can go to any store and find a Chromebook. You can find a million different brands. There's Lenovo, there's Dell, there's just many Asus, many brands of Chromebook. And you can buy any of them. Just don't buy the $200 one or the one that's on Black Friday for $99. Because what you're going to get is something incredibly slow, and the screen is not able to read really well. And at our age, our eyesight is not the greatest, So we have to read the screen. You want something better than that. But a Chromebook, because it runs Google Chrome, Apple worked with Google, and your phone will see your Chromebook and work with it. So that's the next level of using, of difficulty when you're talking about upgrading. So you could go Apple Chromebook, and I don't recommend one particular brand of Chromebook, any of them. You go to Best Buy, you'll see 25 different models. The hardest way to use your technology is to go iPhone to maybe a PC. It is possible. You can, it will work with a little bit of your work. You can make it work with your iPhone. It's doable. It's just not as easy. So why make your life harder? If you're going to buy a new computer, go with one of the top two. Okay, if you're in the very top, it's Apple. It's the second, you're in the Google world. Okay, what about if you have an Android phone? What should you do there? Well, the easiest thing to do with an Android phone is to use, Android is by Google, remember, is to use a Chromebook. It's by Chromebooks run a Google operating system. So they talk to each other. That's easiest. And the next level, the harder one, there's no middle, the harder is to do an Android phone to a Mac or a PC. You have to go through a few more steps, it just wasn't built to do that, but it will work. So those are your options when you're buying a computer. I think we're going to see more and more Chromebooks coming into people's homes. They're less expensive, they do everything you need, and you don't have to buy software and do all this. And you don't have to worry about them as much. They also are much less prone to malware and viruses. Google has created a software system that really protects you a little bit better. So, Chromebooks are coming and you'll see more of them. Okay, what about future devices in your home as you move toward the smart home? What's that going to be like? Well, some of these devices already exist, and you may or may not be. They may work fine with your phone. You might have to work a little harder. But if you look at the glasses there, that's the future. There will be glasses or some wearable device. We already have watches that will, for instance, my watch can read everything that's on my phone. Well, it wouldn't make sense to get a Samsung watch with an Apple iPhone. You get the devices to match. So the same with the glasses. You will want to have glasses that will work with your world, whether you have an Apple world or a Google world. So think about that in the future. In the top right up there is a thermostat. You have to have a thermostat in your home that will have an app that will work on either your iPhone or your Android phone. So you need to make sure if an app goes in, or a device goes in your home, it's compatible with your phone. Your phone is the thing you need to concentrate on. What about the future? We've got the car, you've got some virtual reality glasses. All devices in the future, never buy a device without thinking if it's compatible with your phone. Okay. All right. So my wish as a wise boomer and the one that created Wise Boomer is that you become a smart digital consumer. You think about your future in terms of technology because, like it or not, it will be wrapped up in technology. So if you are a smart digital consumer, you do certain things, but just to make sure you're prepared and you understand compatibility and simplicity, you need to make sure that you are controlling your technology. It's not controlling you. So many people are afraid of their phone. They'll take a phone call if it comes in, but they do not want to learn how to really use it. And it is an amazing tool. It can do so many things. So don't let it control you. Take hold of it, attend some classes, and learn how to use it. Check your Wi-Fi at home. As we move forward, Wi-Fi is going to be so important in your home. If you haven't touched your Wi-Fi, or if you don't even have Wi-Fi, over the years, you have got to be careful that it's secure. You upgrade your modem or your router. That's what runs the Wi-Fi into your house. You can run a speed test to see how fast your internet is. And most important, password protect it. It is very important that you password protect everything. In fact, the one thing that is more important than getting a new phone or a new device is to get a password system in place. Now on wiseboomer.com, if you go there and you click on presentations, you will see an entire PDF document that tells you exactly how to set up a password system so that you always know your password. You do not need a password book. You don't need to tell anybody your password. You will always know it, and it will be different on every website. Okay, so your goals of this. Your goals are: get ready for your future, plan for it, know that it's coming, and with the simplification in mind. Organize your technology, streamline your technology, and focus on learning your smartphone. So important. Focus. Go to youtube.com and watch type in tutorial on your smartphone brand, whatever you have. Learn how to use it. Come to class at Oasis. We have phone classes. That's all for today, but I'll answer some questions. But most importantly, go to wiseboomer.com, read some of the mini lessons there, learn a little bit about phone, and most of all, just keep moving forward and keep in mind you want to simplify your life with technology, and you can do it. My email is on the screen, awiseboomer@gmail.com. Do not hesitate. Email me anytime, any question, anything that you want to know. Just don't hesitate, because if you get the answers to your questions, it will move you forward quicker. And don't forget to use YouTube and search on the internet for all the answers to any question you have. You can find it, you can find a video on it, you can find somebody that had the same question. Smallest little problem, it can be fixed that way. Thank you.
Wow, Jacki, as always, you are full of excellent information, and you present it in such a reassuring way, which we appreciated every time. In fact, last year when you were a presenter at the technology fair, I listened to your password presentation, and I changed all my passwords. I created your specific formula that you teach so well, and I have never had to ever write down a password again. So I think that's really important, and thank you for touching on that, especially when it comes to the security of the devices. You touched a little bit about the Wi-Fi. Talk to the question about, I don't have to know how to do that, right? I would call my provider and they would come and update my modem and make sure I'm protected. Is that correct? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
That's correct. You don't need, Wi-Fi is very difficult, and there's a lot of, you do need to know how to fix it if it goes down, and I can tell you something about that. But all providers will come in and they'll bring what's called a modem into your house, and that will bring the internet into your house. And then they will suggest either adding a router or using the modem. And what it does is it sends Wi-Fi out wirelessly through your house. They handle that. But for those of you who do have Wi-Fi and you've never even checked it, one tip I can give you is those modems they freeze up or they stop working. If your Wi-Fi isn't working the way you want it to, find that little black box that they put in your house, reach around and just pull the plug out the back, and then plug it back in, and don't be afraid, because what will happen is all of a sudden your Wi-Fi will come back up. It does happen. And you can do that once every couple weeks and to ensure that it's working correctly. But your TV streaming, everything's going to start working more off of Wi-Fi. So make sure that Wi-Fi keeps working.
Plug in, plug out. That's good advice before you freak out and do anything else. We have some excellent questions coming in from our attendees on YouTube and on Zoom. So I will just quickly take a few questions for the time that we have. Okay. This question is for Stephanie. What do you recommend for people with disabilities? Are there special things to look for in a phone or a laptop?
The more you pay for a phone, the most likely you're going to get more accessibility options. I can tell you about the iPhone, which I use. The iPhone has incredible things for disabled people. For instance, I can go like this on my screen on my phone, and it will read what's ever on my screen. Besides using voice commands, I can tell it to read anything on me. But you also can make the print huge. You can make, there's just so many different options for accessibility. Apple has always been very in tune with the user. And so they added all these. Now, I am afraid I don't know if that's true of the Android phones, and I'm sure it depends on the amount, the quality of the Android phones. But I cannot address that. You can look that up, though. But I can tell you for sure an iPhone or an iPad has incredible uses when you're disabled in any way.
Thank you so much, Jackie. The next question comes from Lisa. Lisa is asking about the 5G devices, and she's asking, how safe are 5G devices around your head all the time? Are they dangerous to your health?
I have been asked this so many times, and I give you the same answer. I am not an expert on that, but I will tell you this. Everything I've read points me to the direction that it is nothing to worry about. There are some people that have heard things about electromagnetic fields and that's going to affect their health and things like that. I really can't address that, but like I said, I have read research over and over, and I keep getting the same message that it's going to be okay. It is going to happen around the world, so you have to believe that if it was really that detrimental to your health, something would have surfaced by now.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Let's take a question from Angie. Angie's saying, I have 2 routers, one with a password. They're both connected to my systems. Is that silly or is that good? What do you think, Jackie?
It really depends on what the routers are. There are a new system of routers called mesh, where you put multiple ones around your house. If you have a particular house that has a wide area, you would use that. But having 2 separate routers, I don't know, that seems excessive. I don't know that you would need that unless one of them is really old and not doing its job. Most houses are fine with just 1 router. So again, simplifying it, 2 routers means 2 more problems. So if you can get rid of one of the routers, go with the newest one, see if you can plug it in and get your whole system working on that. Go to YouTube.
Simpler is better. Always reassuring us of that, Jackie. Thank you. This is a fun question. What do you do if a family member gives you a device that you don't want, but it is part of their technology family?
Well, I don't know how it could be. Okay, let's say that you have I go to Europe, I'm using an iPhone. My family has an Android phone. I can still communicate with it. I have to learn how to use my device to communicate to theirs. It would only be the phone that I would care about. The rest of their devices, they can go ahead and work all they want. But my phone is going to work for me. I'm going to be able to do what I need. So there are many apps that communicate, and Apple, for instance, now has FaceTime, which allows you to actually FaceTime, which is the video chat, with anybody who has an Android phone. You can do that now. So they're working toward that, but I don't think you have to worry about that. What you worry about is when you use your devices.
All right, we have time for one last question, and thank you for all of you who've been commenting and asking questions. We really appreciate your engagement. This is what makes live broadcasting so much fun. So Jackie, a personal question to you. What are you most, personally, I mean, you know a lot about technology, you have a lot of technology. What are you most looking forward to in the future?
I think probably the ability to, as I age, in 10 years, I see myself being less mobile, and I look forward to having a robot doing things for me at home, and being able to go anywhere. Now, one of the predictions is that you have a monitor on all the driverless buses that are around and in your house, and you can call and you can log into that monitor and do any of your world in there. So I look forward to simplifying my world down to being able to go anywhere, do anything I want without working hard at it and not having to remember a million commands. And I think really my joy would be watching all of you simplify your worlds and see your smiles as you learn something, which I see in my classes all the time, when you learn how to use your iPhone instead of having your grandkids do it. So both of those things, I'm going to enjoy the whole thing. It's going to be amazing. And especially the medical technologies that are coming forward, like programming cells to fix things in our body and things like that. It's going to be an amazing world.
This is a great way to end our session, because what we know here at Oasis, after being around for almost 40 years, is grandchildren are our least favorite sources for learning technology, because they go quick, they expect you to understand everything right away. So I hear this all the time here at Oasis that, wow, Jackie knows how to teach. not only she understands it, she actually understands my rhythm, my thinking, my reasoning. So we're so grateful to you, Jacki. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I enjoy it.